Y'all, time to get the teeth cleaned. Good morning. Thank you. All right, y'all, done. Got the teeth done. All right, y'all, I got my little goodie bag. I always like to see what kind of course you get a toothbrush. And y'all, I do change out. As soon as I get home, I change out my toothbrush every 6 months. I got that type of toothpaste. Of course, you get some dental floss and my next appointment. My next appointment card, 6 months from now. Honey. All right, y'all. Let's head on back to the hacienda and get this work done for the man. Get the sunning. Y'all, it's been pollinating, ain't it? Yeah. What's up, y'all? I'm sitting up here, I'm taking me a quick little eye break. Y'all, you know, I just thought about this stuff going on with Wendy Williams. Can we talk about it for a minute? Can we just talk about it for a minute? Y'all, you know, I watched that TMZ special that they did. And I think I told y'all about that. I can't remember if I did or not. It's on Tubi, I want to say. And then TMZ has done some updates where they've talked with her even the more. And right now she's under this conservatorship, right? And I knew when that TV show came out on, what was it, Lifetime, and they did the little reality show, so to speak, when, you know, Wendy was kind of spiraling, you know, having drinking problem, and then she had some stuff going on with her mentally, and of course I think all that was just attributed to, you know, how she found out that her husband was unfaithful, and, you know, he had a baby on the way, and, you know, that can take a toll on people, on how they handle it. So anyway, so that happened, and then I went down a rabbit hole just to try to understand conservatorship, what all that means, how it comes into play, you know, why is it for some people and not others. And, you know, I even sat back and said, well, you know what? Look at how other people, whether it be celebrities or people that we just know, people that might even be in our family, and it's unfortunate, and yeah, you want to look out for your family, but I was sitting back thinking, well, look at how many celebrities have smoked their life away on drugs, or drank their life away drinking, and you don't hear about banks or judges putting a freeze on people's accounts. I mean, if it's their money, they made it. If they want to do what they want to do with it, let them do what they want to do with it. But as I went deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, I'm thinking, now why is it different for Wendy, right? And I got to thinking back. I can remember, because I thought, when, you know what? So I'm going to tell you what it made me do. It made me go back thinking about, okay, now how is Wells Fargo? I think that's, you know, her bank that she uses, Wendy Williams. And so I started looking up the terms and conditions on my bank, you know. And I do know this just from school and college, and just from being a consumer and a user of a bank, that each account is secured by the federal government for $250,000. So let's say you have $1 million in one of your accounts. Well, it's insured and covered up to $250,000. In other words, if something goes to the left, the government is going to secure that. Now, if you got more than that and something happens to banking or whatever, then it's just like SOL. But the government is federally insures those funds, and it's all connected. And what I mean by that is, if there's any type of suspicious activity going on with your banking, your bank, yeah, they'll shut your mess down until they get into the weeds of what's going on with your account. And here's the case in point. Again, after I went down the rabbit hole to understand what was going on with Wendy, and I don't want to get all into that, because y'all can go out there and read up and see what they're saying, why Wendy is under the conservatorship, what all took place. But again, this is something that we need to be making sure we understand about our banking. And so anyway, I can remember whenever I got my landscaping done in the backyard, and then what I also found out when I was getting my landscaping done in the back, when I had all those trees cut down, and then, all of that stuff, I had all that stuff done when I first moved here. And then I also had to have the landscapers grade my yard because there was some unevenness. So they had to do some drainage. So yeah. So because once all those trees were gone, all those trees, they grinded up the stumps. So it does something to your land. Anyway, again, I'm not intelligent enough to explain all that. But I removed, you keep in mind that I removed 22 pine trees off of my property when I first moved here. Can y'all imagine that? That lets you know how big the backyard is. I removed trees all over all in the front and in the back. But anyway, so I had that many pine trees removed. So it does something to the land. And so so that I would have proper drainage, because my house sort of sits up on the incline, up on a little hill, little incline. So to properly drain so that, I ain't messing up the integrity of my house and the foundation be jacked up and all that kind of stuff, I had to go ahead on, and I had to pay, it was a little over $6,000, somewhere around there, to get everything landscaped. I got a few bushes and dogwoods, crepe myrtles out there in the back, whatever. But the main thing was to get my land where the drainage would drain off my property away from the foundation of my house. So got all that situated. Well, in order for me to get that done, the landscapers that did that said, okay, we gonna give you a discount if you pay in cash. And I was like, okay, so they gave me almost $500 discount to get. So I went to the bank. I said all that to say this. I went to the bank and withdrew the cash out of my savings. And the teller said, well, why are you removing, what's your withdrawal for? And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, what the heck do you care? It's my money. And I want it now, And I said, oh, I'm getting some, and I was getting some landscaping, because when I sort of looked at her like, I know you ain't asking me why am I withdrawing this much money, And for me, I'm sure people spend $6,000 a day, so it's no biggie. But I'm not her. I don't spend $6,000 a day. That's why they have a banking limit on what you can spend per day. There's a limit to that. Unless you call your bank and say, hey, look, I need you to increase my daily spending. I think most accounts are set at $5,000 a day. But some people, if they have any kind of a banking account and they use more than $5,000 a day, then yeah, you can call your bank and they can temporarily increase it so you can make a big purchase, and then they'll set the limit back down. Or you can just say, no, leave it at whatever. And they have to approve it, okay? Because, if you don't even bring in that kind of money per month, they're not going to put that limit high like that. But anyway, again, that's again part of banking. So when I told her that that's what I was, and she said, okay, I have to put this in the system. She said, just a FYI. And again, all this kind of stuff is in your terms and conditions. But you know, some of us don't read the fine print. Well, anytime you withdraw any type of money, whether you are depositing money or withdrawing money, anytime you withdraw a certain amount of money, they have to alert the federal government, the Federal Reserve Bank, right? They have to let them know, okay, this consumer, this customer is withdrawing this amount of money. And so what they do is they kind of flag your account. So if you come in and start doing continuous heavy cash withdrawal, because this also understand banks use your money that you got sitting in your account to do loans and all that kind of stuff. So they're making interest off of your money. They're making money off of your money. So when people are starting to withdraw cash all the time, then yeah, they have to look at that. And they also have to report it to who? Like I said, the federal government. Thus, the FDIC is insuring that account. And that's just how it works. So fast forward to this Wendy situation. Well, what happened was all these abnormal spending was happening. Like, for instance, for somebody like Wendy, her spending habits every day could be $20K. She's a multimillionaire. So she probably blows $20K a day. And so that might be normal for her account for that bank. But then if y'all watch the documentary, it said that her son was wanting to rent a boat, right? And he thought the boat rental was going to be $1,500. Come to find out, the boat rental or whatever it was $100K. Red flag, red flag. So they said, this is unusual. And then he kept, meaning Wendy's son, allegedly, because she's got to go to court and all this kind of stuff, because she's trying to now get from under this conservatorship. So anyway, Wells Fargo said, something is not right. So they froze her account. And the bank, Wells Fargo, according to what was reported on TMZ, and I'm saying alleged, like I said, I don't want to get all deep into the weeds because I don't want to misstate anything. But what I'm saying is, according to what TMZ reported and what was in the court documents or the filings as to why Wells Fargo is the one who requested a conservatorship, because they were saying, this spending is out of control, and they knew, and Wendy allegedly had given her son permission to have access to her accounts. Again, keep in mind now, this is what's happening while Wendy was going through all this stuff with her husband and blah, blah, blah. So again, meanwhile, back at the ranch, Wells Fargo is approaching the courts in New York to say, hey, we need a guardian or a conservatorship because her son is over here withdrawing zooms and whams and other people on top of that. Again, now this is something Wendy was talking about on this TMZ special. But it got me to thinking, I thought, oh my God. And I know she's in a hard place because it's like, man, she's going through all of this on top of her son is doing this, but she loves her son. And, a 20-year-old, they don't really know the value of a dollar, but he's so used to his mama doing whatever she does for him. He thought, her money is my money. But again, see that business side, the business side of stuff. That's why when people are young and they haven't experienced life and they think they can just do whatever, but you don't know what a target you put on your back. Plus, your mother was going through this psychological thing too at the same time. So I had to sort of sit back and think, oh, okay, so they are actually, the bank is doing what they're supposed to do. There are parameters and guardrails in place that protect us as consumers. But what I don't like is how they got this woman in this hospital where she can't freely go and come and go. I mean, she's like a prisoner. That's the part that bothers me. Let the woman get out, handle her business, because she seems to be in her right mind now. What they said was going on with her allegedly, possibly can't be going on, because whatever she has, according to the diagnosis, her brain is not supposed to get any better. It just gets worse with time. So again, I'm praying for Wendy. Like I said, it's just really convoluted. But I tell you, I don't understand that holding her almost like a prisoner in that facility. And she can't go down unless somebody lets her go down. I mean, she's just up in this facility 24 hours a day. She has to get permission to move or go anywhere. Her conservator, the person that's over her conservatorship, they have reign over her comings and her goings. And she's right now petitioning the court she wants out of this conservatorship. That's the part I don't get. That's that woman's money. That if she recognizes and she knows. And here's the other thing too about banking and stuff. I know what she's trying not to. She's trying to keep. As a mother, I know what she's doing. She's trying to keep her son from getting into trouble, because it's okay. It's almost like if you're using, let's say you are reporting fraud to your company, to your bank. Well, you have to go through a process. For those of you who have gone through that process, you know what you have to do. You have to call your bank and say, hey, these purchases, I did not purchase, I did not authorize. And so then you have to do the affidavit and all that, and then they put the money back in your account, blah, blah, blah. So, but you have to go through that, and you have to file that. And then if it's, and then the bank themselves will do whatever they're going to do on their end. If they got to go after that said criminal to press charges for restitution, whatever, then see, they do it. But they make me as the customer whole. They make me whole by putting my money back in my account because it was a fraudulent charge or whatever. I think with Wendy, she's trying not to have to, because in order for you to claim fraud so that they'll release her account, this is just what I'm thinking out loud. To release her account, she's got to do some kind of affidavit stating, okay, yeah, I gave him authorization to use my card for certain things, but I ain't give him no authorization to do this 100K and all these other things along with these other people. So who are these other people that Wendy is also saying has had access to her money into her account? See, I think Wendy may know who all these other folks are, but they may be family. And I know for sure she knows it's her son, because she said that out of her own mouth. So I can say that without fear of contradiction. And I got to thinking about that thing. I said, that's what it is. And I thought, oh my God, her son has actually put her in the place that she's in. And what I mean, indirectly, because the system is going to do what the system is going to do. But anyway, it got me to thinking about us as consumers, because again, I was so upset and angry. I'm thinking, you mean to tell me a bank can do that? Yes, ma'am. If there is fraud and they see activity that is out of the norm, See, again, and see, this is another thing I learned. See, this happens at bank levels too, where people that work for banks embezzle. See, as long as they stay at a certain amount, they'll fly under the radar. It's when you start getting greedy and going up in that number. And so, again, Wells Fargo probably wouldn't have said a word had the spending stayed at about $20K a day, because that was the norm. And I'm just throwing that out as a number. But they know what the norm activity. And then the other thing that I don't get, so that now while Wendy is in the conservatorship, while she's waiting for her day in court, the bank won't even give her banking statement so she can see, okay, well, what's going, okay, I get it. You've got my mess on lockdown where me or my family or whoever can't have access to it, but that's my money. That's my account. Why are you keeping me from seeing my banking statements so I can see what else is going on? I want to keep track of where my money is going. That's another thing that I don't understand. Why doesn't she have access to, even if they don't want her to be able to type in her credentials to why can't they give her a copy or email her bank statement? Every month I get a bank statement via email, or some people still want theirs paper mailed in the mail. But we should be able to see our activity. She has no access to see her banking activity. That I also have a problem with. Now you've cut me off from my money. The conservator is the only person that have access to my money to pay this, to pay that, to pay, whatever. And that's the other thing. She said that, she's got bills to pay. She doesn't know how her stuff is looking. She needs to know that all her bills are being taken care of. So to me, there's something just not adding up on that part of the business as to why this conservator is not allowing her or the bank. And again, it may be because of the way the conservatorship is set up through the courts. But something is real funky about that. I'm thinking now, how are you going to spend this woman's money and she doesn't even know how it's being spent? So anyway, I was just sitting here thinking out loud about that thing. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So that's why, it's really important for people to stay on top of their business. But like I said, going back to that banking thing, they probably would have never, because that's her daily spending habits, that $20K. But it was when, I think, when that boy tried to rent that yacht for $100K. And it went through or whatever. Because, they say homeboy was spending and money like 40 going north. Him and his friends going out, doing this, doing that, and the other, eating out. A 20-year-old, they ain't cooking. They gonna go out and pay for their whole entourage. He better talk to MC Hammer. See, that's how MC Hammer became bankrupt. He wanted to take all his homeboys with him and had that big entourage and lost all his millions trying to keep up and pay for everybody. So some people can't go where you go, honey. But anyway, I just got to thinking about it. I said, oh my goodness. So like I said, that was a big eye opener and a reminder and a lesson. I said, oh, that's why that woman asked me what I was doing with that money. Because that was unusual for me to come up and withdraw, almost $7,000 worth of cash. And same way when I got my car fixed, I had to call my bank and have them increase my limit. Because again, I think my limit is $5,000 a day. I had to call my bank and have them increase my limit so I can let that transaction go through. Because like I said, it was $6,600 for me to drop that engine in the car. Well, when it was time for me to pay the people, I had to call my bank because I tried to make it go through and they said, wouldn't go through. I said, that's right. Let me call my bank. I got to increase. Because it told him on the other end that says that I had reached the max limit for a transaction. And I thought, oh, okay. And so he said, oh, you probably gonna have to call your bank and have them raise your limit. I said, you know what? And that's what I did. I called the bank right there on the phone. She said, yeah. She said, I can leave it up if you want to, or I can bring it back down after this transaction. I said, well, no, just go ahead on, and I'll hold on the line. The transaction went through, and I said, go ahead on and lower the limit back to where it needed to be. Because, I mean, like I said. But anyway, it was just, things you learn. And like I said, that transaction gets reported to. But they could see I was at the car place getting, they could see the transaction. And plus, that's what I told her, why I needed to raise it. Because I was getting car repairs. But anyway, so those are the type of things that we have to know as consumers as to why certain things. And if bank asks you your business, okay, why are you withdrawing so and so and so amount? It's just like, I know if you're need to withdraw a very large sum of cash, I think some banks require you to give them a 24 to 48 hour notice if possible, because that means they got to make sure they got enough cash, because there's a certain amount of cash that every bank, just based on their activity, there's a certain amount of cash that the banks have on a day-to-day basis for security purposes, for what their daily transactions are. They may have more cash on hand on, let's say, Thursdays and Fridays, because they know that's when a lot of people get paid. Or they know on the 1st and the 15th, when that military or them teachers or whatever, them people who get paid like that, they make sure that they have more cash on hand. Because when people paycheck hit, they're going to come and probably withdraw cash. But anyway, some of y'all know this. But if any of y'all are on this and y'all see this, y'all let me know what the get down is as to why. And again, it probably could be something in the fine print of that conservatorship where the bank is not allowing her to not even view her own banking statements. Do what? And that's her money. That's her money. So if anybody's on here that can explain that, and maybe we'll learn later on, because Wendy, she can be an open book, and I'm sure she'll let us know once and if she gets out of this conservatorship, which I hope she does. And then she's going to have to get some good people on her team to help safeguard her money. Because I think she even let go of her financial advisor or her financial person. She terminated them. So, but anyway, I'm just curious. Does anybody know why the bank and or the conservator will not allow her to have access? And again, this is what Wendy is saying out of her own mouth, that they will not let her have access nor view her banking statement, so she can see, okay, who's getting paid, for this, whether it's for this medication or for this doctor that saw me last week, or whatever the case may be. How much money is being paid to this facility she's sitting in that she has no freedom to move. I'm just curious where they do that at. And I be thinking about, man, I'm sure there are people on the street that's got more rights than Wendy does. It's really mind-blowing. It really, really is. That's something, to me, I think some impropriety is going on. Because you can't make me think. It's almost like, when Britney Spears was going through what she was going through. I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh, her daddy needed to do that. Okay, well, maybe so whenever she, went on her little episode. But once she seems to be okay now. I mean, whatever that means. But she got out of that mess. And she, seems to be taking care of her business. I'm sure she's got a good team. Hopefully a good team around her that helps keep them guardrails in place. But anyway, it's just interesting. I don't know why that thing has really gnawed at me. I mean, y'all, I went down a rabbit hole. I mean, I was reading the different transcripts and stuff. And like I said, okay, I get it about the banking because that just happens because those are just part of the terms and conditions. But what I don't get is these people will not let her even see the activity. She doesn't have access to her own money. Oh, y'all, that just makes me cringe. But then on top of that, and I get it, they protecting her, whatever. But like I said, look at how many celebrities have, it's their money. Do we condone it that they drink themselves to oblivion or do drugs? No, you don't ever want to wish and hope that for any of these celebrities or anybody who have access to whatever type of money. Heck, we got folk, they ain't got no money and you know, do some horrible things to end their lives, contribute. But I'm just saying, it's just, I don't know. I'm just telling you, something to me is just doesn't add up here. Something is not adding up. Maybe this is, I don't know if they feel like they need, this is a way to get back at Wendy because, you know, she always talking junk about other, but that's who she is. She's a gossip, whatever. And people say, oh, this is her karma. This is what she get. This will keep her mouth shut. She, for so many years, she talked about people. And again, that's what she did. You know, people can talk all that junk, but honey, a whole lot of people tuned into her. And that's not the truth. A lot of people tuned into her. Didn't it? But I just don't like that. I really, really don't like it. And I was also shocked because I'm thinking, well, did her husband secretly petition the court for her to get under that conservatorship? How did all that went down? So when I found out it was the actual bank, child, I was really outdone. The actual bank is who petitioned the court that she needed to be under. I'm like, what? But then again, they got all these doctors to say this, that, and the other is wrong with her. But again, she's requested to be reevaluated because, I mean, when you hear Wendy, she sounds and talks like she's in her right mind. Like I said, I ain't no doctor. I can't diagnose or whatever. But I'm just saying, even with all of that, I just don't understand. Anyway, enough of me jaw-jacking. But like I said, y'all, I was down the rabbit hole. I really was. That thing bothered me. Oh, anyway, y'all. That's my brain thoughts for the day. All right, y'all. Love you. God bless. And may the peace of the Lord be with you. Bye. Pray for Wendy. We're going to pray for Wendy. Yes, sir.